Hello guys! Welcome to the long-awaited return of Freeze Reacts. In celebration of Freeze February, we will be doing weekly Saturday uploads of new episodes, where I will be providing reaction-based content on many different videos. Today, I will be reacting to and providing commentary on Toontown Rewritten Spring 2021 Development Update to Joey and all of the losers on the TTR team. This video constitutes fair use as I am providing commentary and criticism. That means you cannot legally issue a DMCA takedown request for this video. Let us begin.
Hey everyone, my name is Joey Zokowski from the Toontown Rewritten team, and I'm going to be giving you the latest development update from Toontown Rewritten.
Are you kidding me? Not this guy again. Why is he presenting this quote-unquote development update? If there was an announcement declaring world peace and no more global warming, but this loser was presenting, I would still want my money back.
Now, as a lot of you know, last week we had our version 2.8.0 update, which was really awesome and represented a big milestone for us.
I would never dare to attempt to download Toontown Rewritten, even in an attempt to expose their garbage update, because the game is, oh, wait. It's right, you banned me.
2 new trolley games, new Toon tasks and items, as well as the awesome April Toons Week event. But it represented
April Toons, not April Toons. Joey, do not think I forgot about the time you used this horrible update as an excuse to attack me in my instant ice shop. Wow, what a lovely day. I love playing the game fairly and having a lot of fun doing it. Good thing I'm not banned. I wonder what TTR is planning for April Toons. Oh no! Someone help. Call an ambulance or even a scientist. Help? I don't even think that was intentional. It was probably an early attempt to ban me, but somehow they turned it into a visual bug, like they do with everything.
internally because it's the first update that's been developed by our Next Update project. Now, this is something we've kind of dreamed about for a lot of years, but have never really had the manpower or resources to put on. But the Next Update project is this idea that we have a smaller group of people on our team focused on releasing
What in the world? It got so quiet that Pin sounded almost as loud as a Mega Snoop burp. Joey, I think the universe is trying to say, no one cares.
Now, this isn't a promise in any way that we're going to be able to release updates every month or even every 3 months or anything like that. We're certainly going to still try to get our updates out as fast as possible, but this was largely an experiment. It may have been a successful one, but there's still things that we need to figure out and ways to make this work in the way that we want it to.
Thank you to the folks at Harvard, Columbia, and Yale for that simulation on the average TTR experiment. I'd also like to draw attention to the absolute lies Joey is physically spitting. I would bring out my lie detector to show you all, but he already broken it years ago.
Now, back in September, we talked to you about the latest state of Sellbot field offices. In the Behind the Toonverse panel at Toonfest, we gave you an update on all of the percentages and just a rough estimate on where we think that things are at. So,
you fools, you stole my instant ice to develop this garbage minigame
right now, but we just wanted to give you transparency on what the progress has looked like and just a good state of where development is at.
If you want to see transparency from this absolute fool, watch FreezeCast 3, How to Implement Fair Moderation Practices. Of course, I'm always transparent. For example, that haircut looks terrible.
Things that we're going to be talking about. Of course, Sellbot field offices, the Sellbot task force, and then some miscellaneous things that need to be done before we can really call this expansion complete.
Miscellaneous. Are those all the millions of lunch breaks you guys took while developing complete mediocrity? Congratulations. Your update was terrible.
Starting off looking at the core gameplay of Sellbot field offices, which is really the logic that allows this big boss to take over Toon headquarters, and then all the stuff that goes on inside of it. As you can see, not much to talk about. These are all largely the same as before because a lot of them were done, except for the multiple group logic, which we'll be addressing once we get to our QA phase.
LOL, LOL, XD. I cannot believe he just said QA phase. Trust me, Joey will learn how to program a basic if-else statement before a Toontown server implements QA testing.
Exterior, again, is one of those things where there's not too much to talk about because honestly, a lot of this stuff was practically done when we last talked about it. And It's one of those things where maybe if we weren't quite so much of perfectionists, we could call these done. But we're a little scared to call them done until we've gotten to that final QA and polish phase where we can put the final details on it and be fully confident that there's not going to be any more changes.
Perfectionists, perfectionists. Take a look at this perfect circle. Now take a look at this circle. This is the TTR team.
Moving on to the battle rooms, again, largely unchanged, but we have done a little bit more optimization for these rooms and we'll continue to be working on that.
Are these percentages being measured out of quadrillion?
Boiler room. The boiler room is actually where we're putting our focus on right now. So although not a lot of these percentages have changed too much from our last update, this is about to get a significant amount of progress as we move forward with it since we've moved on from the ice game and some of the other features that we'll talk about shortly.
Wow! They were probably programming this milliseconds before the expansion was released. But I was to speak more about the boiler room itself, not the fight. That, we know it's horrible. I'm talking about whether or not the boiler is Joey's self insert of his anti-justice-ness into the game. Leave a comment about your thoughts.
Now we'll move on to talking about the Cellbot Task Force, which is essentially the main way that field offices are tied into the core game progression.
We can't forget about the core game progression of doing 9,783,501 field offices, along with 4,809,610,224 VPs.
With Toon tasks and a new mini playground called the Toon Resistance Hideout that lives beneath Cellbot headquarters. Speaking of the hideout, as you can see here, our area model has gone from 0% all the way to 80% complete.
That's quite a big leap. Did he just admit to rushing the hideout model?
The next part of the Cellbot Task Force is Toon tasks. And Toon tasks are something we haven't talked about a whole lot in the past, and I don't want to give you too many spoilers right now.
Nobody wants or even needs spoilers, because no one actually reads the Toon task dialogue anyway. How out of touch with his player base is this guy?
However, I will say there are a lot of new Toon tasks in this expansion. Now, Resistance Rank, if you remember, is our feature that's sort of the equivalent of progressing through a playground or earning your cog suit. It's what makes you feel like you're actually moving forward in the game.
Here's a live demonstration of what it feels like to move forward in Toontown, rewritten.
The design and GUI for all of this is complete. We've got it programmed in game. There's just a tiny bit of polish left on that GUI to address some feedback.
I think we all know that Toontown Rewritten doesn't actually listen to feedback. I mean, they have not even added a chat log, despite everyone asking for one for so many years.
Lastly, we're just going to talk about some of the miscellaneous odds and ends of this expansion that need to be done so we could really call it complete, starting with our backend components.
Yawn! Setting aside the fact that 99.999% of Toontown players will not understand this section anyway. This is incredibly boring.
Now, we move on to the mysterious major feature improvement, which is one of those things that we're keeping intentionally vague because we want it to be a surprise for you all when this update releases.
If history is any indication, surprising Toontown players with major changes is generally not a good idea. We've seen it time and time again with both Toontown Rewritten and Corporate Clash.
Now, this is a weird one because surprisingly, one of our percentages has gone down just a tiny bit because we've added a couple new things in that we're working on the art side.
Of course, it wouldn't be a Toontown private server development team if they weren't disorganized and actually had a clear vision of what they wanted the update to be.
And of course, our final miscellaneous feature, no launch would be complete without preparing for it.
With the terrible display of incompetence and lack of quality assurance, that was the launch of Cellbot field offices. I have a hard time believing they prepared for it at all.
Some people may wonder why we would spend more time doing marketing for this, but we really want to make sure that Cellbot field offices is something that not just catches the attention of people in the Toontown community, but catches the attention of people outside of it so that it really brings back a whole lot more activity to the game.
I hate to break it to you, Joey, but I don't think anyone outside the Toontown community wants to play a dead Disney MMO from 2003.
And of course, there's not much to talk about for final balancing and QA testing because
you're not going to do those things.
So there you have it. That's the state of our Cellbot field offices expansion right now. We're still working super hard, and it's worth noting that a lot of the progress that we've made has actually been made in 2021.
I can tell.
So Thank you all so much for watching this development update. We hope that it gives you a look into what we've been doing.
Trust me, it certainly has given me a look into what you were quote-unquote doing.
Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next time.
That was certainly a very insightful look into the laziness of the TTR team. Well, I guess it's time to wrap up this episode. Thank you all for watching. And if there's a video you want me to react to next, feel free to suggest it in my Discord server. The invite link will be in the description of this video. Thanks again for watching. Freeze, signing off.